Hey, Chris Bayless here, founder of the Sponsorship Collective. And in this training, I want to talk to you all about how to identify and secure multi year sponsorship agreements. Check it out. So, what is a multi year sponsorship agreement? It's exactly how it sounds. A sponsor agrees to sponsor your property or your opportunity for multiple years, and they sign a contract saying so. So, why would anybody want a multi year sponsorship deal? I know it's a ridiculous question, but the benefits are really simple: guaranteed cash flow, guaranteed partners. You don't have to spend the time prospecting for new sponsors every single year. You know how much money you have to spend. You know who your sponsors are going to be. You know what activations they like. It makes for a really predictable event or partnership or race series or festival or whatever it is your sponsorship property is. Another benefit that people don't really think about is if your sponsorship property is a sellable asset. In other words, it's a business that you could sell in the future. Multi-year sponsorship agreements will likely increase the valuation of your business. So, really, really valuable. But what about benefits to the sponsor? Are there any? Yes, many benefits to the sponsor. When a sponsor signs on for a multi-year agreement, you can start to promote that sponsor the day after your current property ends. So if you run a music festival and on December 1st, you have your music festival, on December 2nd, you can send out save the dates for next year's event with your sponsors included in your save the dates. They get significantly more exposure, significantly more involvement. Also, when we're talking about branding, branding takes more than just 1 year, one event, one opportunity. So, signing into a multi year means that they're going to actually get the compounding effects of sponsorship. You can also do things, activations leading up to your property throughout your promotional period that you can offer to the sponsor if and only if they come on board for a multi year. And the other thing is, they sign a multi year, you don't have to go back to the decision maker inside their company to get permission or approval. It's easier for them, it's easier for you, they get bigger bang for their buck. So, why don't more companies do multi year sponsorships? Honestly, because most properties don't even ask for them. And so, we're going to address that and we're going to change that in this training. I think it's fair to say that the level or amount of sponsorship when it comes to multi-years matters. Does it really make sense to be pursuing a multi-year sponsorship deal on a $2,000 exhibit space? It really doesn't make sense. So when we're talking about sponsorship and multi-year agreements, we typically recommend $25,000 and above. You should focus on a 3-year agreement. For 6-figure sponsorships, I would always recommend focusing on a 5-year agreement. You may not get it, but if you start at 5, you might end up with 3. So not every single sponsorship opportunity is going to be a multi-year. I was having this conversation with a client of ours who I'll call Hillary. This is not her real name. But one of the things we discussed is that she should actually make a policy within her company. Now, she owns the business. And so she could just say anything she wants in any negotiation. But it's better, at least in Hillary's case, that she creates a policy that she can then show potential sponsors to prove that she's not just saying this as a negotiation tactic. And the policy for Hillary was any sponsorship at $25,000 and above, a 3-year agreement is required. So whenever she enters into a negotiation for sponsorship at that level, she just assumes it's going to be a 3-year, puts it in the contract, negotiates it, and she closes multi-years as a result. The other thing that I recommended to Hillary is that she assumes the multi-year sale whenever she's having a conversation with potential sponsors. So when she's talking to them and they say, oh, we'd love to do this amazing activation at your event. Hillary says, that's great. So this activation is worth approximately $30,000. And just so you know, at the $30,000 level, we're focusing on 3-year agreements. Does that work for you? Rather than negotiating the activation and then later on trying to convince them to sign into a multi-year, she just says it outright. Hey, look, this is the amount for this activation. That's our policy. That's our corporate policy. That's our approach. When we're talking about sponsorship at this level, we are going to work together for a minimum of 3 years. And if the sponsor doesn't want to do that, she doesn't sign the deal. A lot of people think they're negotiating multi-year agreements when they put in the contract that the sponsor gets right of first refusal. The only thing the right of first refusal does is makes it hard for you to get sponsors. Why? Well, if you tell company A that they have right of first refusal, and company A takes 8 months to let you know whether or not they're coming on board, you've lost the opportunity to replace company A if they say no. Well, guess what? Company A knows that. That's why they negotiated the contract the way they did. So with just a few months before your property, company A can come back and ask for discounts, ask for extra assets, and you have no choice but to give them to company A because you offered right of first refusal, at least without time-limited terms. So typically when people are talking about right of first refusal, we usually recommend that what you do instead is turn it on its head. Hey, no problem. Right of first refusal, absolutely. We're happy to put that in the contract. The way right of first refusal works for us is that you sign on for a multi-year agreement, let's say 3 years, and then the period from January 1st to January 15th, we will provide a fulfillment report proving that we delivered everything we said we did. If we didn't deliver on everything we said we did, then you have that 2-week period to end the contract. If you don't end the contract formally in writing as a result of one of these 3 violations that you'll define with them and your lawyer, then we're going to invoice you on January 15th and away we go. This is a far more powerful right of first refusal versus simply chasing your sponsor for months and months and months. You also want to have a renewal strategy in place. So when you meet your sponsor to deliver your fulfillment report, you sit down with them and talk about how things went. Think about how you could leverage the fulfillment report into a multi-year agreement. This is exactly what Hillary did when she closed a recent 3-year multi-year. So Hillary sat across from her sponsor and said, how do you think it went? It went really well. That's great. Let's do business together again. Absolutely. Let me go put together a couple of proposals for you, a draft proposal with a couple of ideas. Hillary came back and said, option 1 is we do the exact same thing that we did last year, but so you know, our prices have gone up. She's using our valuation calculator, so she's able to prove this quite easily, right? We got so much more media than we expected. We had so many more people, et cetera, et cetera. Or you could sign a 3-year deal now, and we'll keep the exact same price that we worked on last year. So your fees won't go up at all. And I'm going to throw in a couple of extra activations just as a thank you for signing on to a 3-year deal. Well, the sponsor jumped at the opportunity to secure their pricing for 3 years and get a couple of free activations, as opposed to the typical approach of providing a fulfillment report and then begging your sponsors to come back. Hillary used this as a way to leverage the agreement into a multi-year. Now, Hillary didn't make any more money off of the sponsor, but what she got was 3 years of guaranteed revenue without having to chase. And she's able to now hire a team member, a new staff member, to run her event because she knows she has their salary secured for the next 3 years. So she's increased her capacity. And if Hillary chooses to sell her business, she's going to be reaching out to potential buyers and letting them know that this business they're buying has 3 years worth of sponsorship and a 10-year history of success. Not bad. So what was your biggest takeaway? Drop it down below in the comments. Let me know the one thing that you plan to try to secure a multi-year sponsor. Let me know something you have tried that has worked. And remember, the sponsorship proposal doesn't make the sale, and it definitely does not close the multi-year deal. You do. Good luck out there.